Morning everybody. It's just gone 5 o'clock, so I'm out before dawn today. As you can tell, it's pitch black here. I've come down to fish a place called the Kiosk, local to me, and this is in Pevensey Bay, slightly east of the main car park. And the plan for today is to fish 2 rods. I'm going to put one out with a big bait with a bit of herring on, just to see if there's anything about that'll take that. There's been some reports of a few rays caught locally, so maybe one of them will come along, snaffle it up. And I'm also going to chuck the other rod out after some dabs. I've heard there's been quite a few caught here recently. Now, I was hoping this was going to be a session from Brighton after the plaice, but the conditions just haven't been right for that. So I've settled on coming down Pevensey Bay again, just to see if I can find a few fish. So wish me luck. Let's get these rods set up. I've just got first light. Hopefully it's going to be a nice morning. Quite a lot of rain forecast for lunchtime onwards. In fact, we've got a yellow warning for rain here starting this afternoon and carrying on through to Sunday, late in the day. That's why I've come down the beach today. I had been planning to come tomorrow, but I've got to take the weather opportunity when it arises. So I'll carry on getting set up, and in a bit we'll go through my rigs. So let's have a look at the rig I'm going to be chucking out a fish bait on. We have at the bottom a 6-ounce SKM grip lead with a splashdown, and it's a pulley rig, so there I've got my pulley bead. And at the business end we have a 3/0 hook and a 4/0 circle, and the circle hook there, that's held in place with a bit of tubing, but I've also put a rig gum stop on the actual shank of that hook and tied it to the snood, and that provides a lot more resistance to that hook on the line. It's much harder to slide, and that means it provides more resistance to the fish when it comes along and hopefully eats my bait, and that's going to help with getting a hook up. If the hook slides around too much, then you're not going to get the right resistance to get that point to penetrate and hook your fish. So hopefully I'll get a bit of this chopped up and get it chucked out there, and maybe Mr. Ray will come along and snaffle it up. Now I'm going to go with quite a small bait, and I'm just going to chop this half a herring into half, so I'm using 1/4 of the herring. Still a little bit frozen. Only came out my freezer at 4:30 this morning. There we go. Get some bait elastic. This is medium Baitex from Tronics Pro, and I'm just going to hook that way, just through the end, the tail end. And this is made a lot easier if you have a baiting needle. So I've got a baiting needle like this. Pop the bottom hook in there. Slide that top hook out of the way for a second. And I'm going to give this a whip on once I can find the end. There we go. Plenty of elastic, hold this nicely in place. Just give that line a pull so it's tight. And there we have our quarter of a herring bait. And I like to set the hooks so that they're 90 degrees to each other. If you can see that. And that's ready to go out. Well, I've just cast out that herring and I've come back, and the rod I've got chucked out, the little rig for the dabs, has got some bit of slack line and a little bit of a twitch on the tip. So I'm going to get this reeled in and let's see what we've got. What a beautiful dawn. Maybe there is something kicking on here. Let's see what we've got, people. There's definitely some fish. Well, this isn't quite what I expected. Well, maybe I did expect this. Oh, let's turn my headlamp off. It's not quite what I expected. Or maybe I did expect this, a little tiny pin whiting. But we also have a doggy. So I'll get these guys unhooked and chuck them back. Well, I haven't even got my first rod back in the water after the small stuff. And we got what looks like another doggy bite, this time on the herring. I've had a few little taps there and the tip has gone a little bit slack. Let's have a look. Let's keep an eye on this, see if it goes again. And if it does, I'll get it reeled in. It's just started to rain, so I'll have to put my coat on shortly. But it's only a bit of drizzle and I'm wearing the right clothes. Let's see what we've got. I think I missed him. I'll pop this back down, get the other one baited back up, chucked back out, and then I'll reel that in and see if we've got any bait left. What a start. Well, I just put that rod back down thinking Mr. Dogfish had gone, but it started tapping away again, so I'll just give him a minute, see if he wants to engulf that bit of herring, and if he does, we'll get him reeled in. I'll get my other bait sorted, so I've got my other rod back in the water after some dabs. Maybe you can keep an eye on that rod for me while I'm getting my bait sorted out. Beautiful sunrise. Well, let's get these baits back out. Well, our dogfish is going crazy. Maybe I'm going to have to reel that in first. Wow, must have hooked himself this time. Determined not to let me get my dab baits back out. Oh yeah, this one's on. Oh, maybe he's come off. Just plain dead, maybe he's a small one. Oh. Ah, weed. It's a weed fish. Not Mr. Dogfish after all, eh? You think after more than 45 years of fishing, I'd be able to tell the difference. But the weed fought back. Time to get the other rod chucked back out, see if we can get another doggy. Although really I want some dabs. Perhaps you can tell the dog fish that for me, eh? I don't want them pestering me all day. Right, check my drop length, need that a bit longer. Tighten the drag back up. There we go. Well, that's some fish already, and hopefully it's going to be a nice little session. So as you can see, it's got light and almost on cue. It looks like I've got another doggy bite on the right hand rod. There it goes. Right, let's see if we've got something on there. Got a bit of slack line. As you can probably see, I'm using a fixed ball on this rod today. It's the Competition Performance, and I've paired it up with my Shimano Ultegra 14,000. I think I might have missed the dog. There's a bit of weight, I'm obviously not confident in my fishing today. Could do with some more sleep. Oh, let's see what we've got here. I go and walk down and get these fish. Don't want to drag them up the shingle. We have a double shot. Little pout and pin whiting. Cool. So I'll get these guys unhooked and get them put back. Actually, that hook's not too deep. I can just get that out with my fingers. Get the worm out of the way. Get hold of the hook. Oh, come here, mister. All ready to go back. And get the whiting unhooked. That really is a baby one. Hopefully he'll come back bigger in a few years, a lot bigger. Well, they both swam off well. So let's take a look at the rig I'm using that I caught both those fish on. So I'm just going to do a bit of baiting up and then we'll go through the rig. I've got my bait needle. I've got 3 pieces of black lug. That one's quite small. About 1.5 inches, 2 inches, and another one about the same size. That's just cutting one of my slightly larger worms in half after trimming the tail and the top off. And then lastly I'm putting on a whole lug, and I'm going to get my Baytech and give these a light whip while they're on the bait needle. Oh, if I can find the end, there we go. Oops. Come here, that's it. Not too much, just a little bit, and then up to the next one. Up, down the worm once, and then the third one, the bigger one. There's no particular reason for varying the size of my baits. It's just something I like to do. Have a quick look at the other rod that's got the herring out there. That's sitting nice and still. Hopefully the dogs have moved off now it's got light. And my rig here, at the bottom end, I've got a 5 ounce hybrid lead from Shorecast. And my bottom snood is attached right above the lead, and it's 18 inches long, so it's one below the lead. And then moving up, I've got 2 more 18-inch snoods fished up above the lead. So let's get some bait on this guy. And my hooks, I'm using size 4 Varivas Super Match. I like these when I'm fishing for flatties because they've got a nice short shank and it helps with the unhooking through the gills method. So get some bait on there. Oops. There we go, let's try that way. Top hook done. Move down to the middle hook. The snoods on this rig are either 15 or 20 pound fluorocarbon. I don't really need to use fluorocarbon today, the water's not very clear. But it's what I had made up at home, so that's what I brought down with me. And get this last bit of bait on there. That's the bigger worm. So there we go. 3 lug baits ready to chuck out. Now both the rods I've got with me today are the competition performance, and on the one I'm fishing close in, I think I mentioned this already, I've got my Shimano Ultegra 14,000 size reel, and I'm using a tapered line on that, and the main line's only about 0.23 diameter, so it's pretty thin. And on my other rod, the other competition performance, I've put my Tronics Pro Banzai multiplier that you saw me out with before Christmas, and I'm using that. I like the ratchet on it when I'm fishing with these bigger fish baits, so it allows me to loosen the drag off, set the ratchet, and really not pay too much attention to it while I'm focusing on catching my dabs. So I'll get this, truck back out, and hopefully, now daylight has hit us, some dabs will turn up. Fingers crossed. Definitely need a cup of tea. And I got a bite at the same time. Well, the bite will have to wait. It'll only take my jet boil a minute to get up to speed, hopefully, while the fish is digesting my worm and the hook. It's just a little gentle tap, something having a play with the bait. It's on the lug bait, not the fish bait. I had a bite just now on the fish bait, but it was just a nice little knock, a little rattly knock, and then whatever it was moved off. No sign of any fish since. Right, that's boiling. Let that brew while I see whether I've got a fish. Looking forward to that. Definitely looking forward to my cup of tea in a minute. Right, fish. So this is one of the leads I'm using today, well, the style of it, I've got a different colour on. And this is the hybrid lead from Shorecast. So let's get a bit of a closer look. If you look at the shape of this lead, although it's a plain lead because it doesn't have grip wires, it's actually designed so that these pointy bits that you can see here will actually grip a little bit in the seabed. Now, the advantage of this shape means that you can use a plain lead. If you want to move your lead while you're fishing to search for the fish, so you want to reel in a few turns or just get things moving around a bit, then you can do that and it will re-grip itself, unlike a grip lead when the wires break free. Now, the slight disadvantage of it is a bit less streamlined than some other plain leads, but I think that's definitely worth paying that price for a small drop of distance, because you get that flexibility to move the lead. Now, of course, if you're fishing somewhere like for the plaice down Brighton where distance is everything, you may want to go for a traditional grip lead or more regular shaped, streamlined plain lead. Just have a look at my rods. But for the kind of fishing I'm doing today, where I'm fishing not you know, where distance isn't super important, and I'm doing a bit of scratching around, this is a really good lead to use. So if you're interested in that kind of fishing where you want to move your lead about, go and check out the Shorecast hybrid lead. Cheers everybody. It's time for a bit of breakfast. So what's the time now? Let's see if I can get my watch. 20 to 8. So I've been here over 3 hours. Sorry, just over 2 hours. And I've just got a gentle little tap again on my scratching rig. It's like you open a bit of food, fish move in. Hopefully this is more like a dab, very gentle little taps. Doesn't look like a pout, definitely doesn't look like a dogfish. Who could be another rockling, who knows? I'll let that bite develop while I'm eating a bit of breakfast, and shortly we'll see what we got. Well, I've got a bite on the right hand rod. That's the scratching rig again. Plenty of action on that today. It's been rattling away for a little while, and of course I put the camera on and it stops moving. But it's time to see what we got, people. Will it be my dab this time? I came for dabs. 4 species, no dab. Oh, there it goes. Tap, tap, tap. There's a bit of weight here. Now sometimes that can be the hybrid lead because it does dig in a little bit, which is exactly what it's designed to do. It feels like there's a bit of kickback on this. It's not very far out. As soon as I get to the edge, if there's a fish on there, I'll walk down. Don't want to be dragging things up the beach. Yeah, we got a little fish. Let's go see what we got. It looks like another one of them. Them, you know what I mean? You know what I mean by another one of them? Oh yes, we're in to the pins. This is what I live for, catching pins. There we go. Little pin whiting, get him in the bucket of water that's just there next to the camera. I'll get him unhooked and pop him back. So many whiting in the sea. Hopefully they'll be gone soon. Well, I just had another nice bite, so I reeled it in and we have a double shot. Let's bring these fish over so we can take a look. We've got a double shot, we got another doggy and a lovely little rockling. So let's get these guys unhooked and we'll have a better look at the rockling. This one's got some beautiful markings on it. There we go. What a beautiful little rockling. It's got some really pretty markings, this one. Well folks, it's coming up to the end of my session. I've been on the beach for just over 4 hours. It's coming up to 9:30, nearly low tide. And I haven't had my target species this time, which was another dab, or hopefully more than one. But I have had 4 species. We've had dogfish, we've had loads of rockling, pin whiting, and a single pout. All really nice to see, loads of different species coming in. The rain has set in now. It was quite drizzly most of the morning, but it's starting to get heavier. And we have got this yellow warning for rain this afternoon. So it's probably a good time for me to start thinking about heading home, getting all my gear cleaned down. It's quite gritty on this beach, and with it being wet, it's quite sticky grit everywhere. But I'm going to carry on enjoying my cup of tea, leave my rods out another 10-15 minutes and see if we get anything else. If you've liked my video, please click the like button, and I'd love it if you could subscribe. Remember, subscribing's free. Not many things in life are free, but subscribing's free for you and it helps me out. So I hope you've enjoyed this and see you again soon.